So welcome everyone. My name is Itai. You can remember it just as like email and Thai food all together. I am the CEO and founder of PushTok. We'll talk a little bit about PushTok first, but first I want to talk about TikTok and why you want to market through TikTok. Now there is a very kind of like a very widespread conception about TikTok and what it is, what it isn't. And these are some of the kind of like main things that people why people want to market on TikTok, because it has more traffic than any other platform. It's highly driven by music. It has replicable trends that people can hop on. It provides content creation tools, and it has seriously underpriced ads, but I don't want to talk about any of those, not really at least. I want to talk about the one thing that separates TikTok from any other social platform out there, all the way through to the fact that like some people are saying that TikTok is really just kind of like the next step of social, and not really a social media platform and more like a content discovery platform. I'm sorry, I'm not sure. This is not sure what happened there, but TikTok is a content discovery platform, more kind of like in-depth. TikTok is an interest-based content discovery platform, which means that people are, when they're on there, they are already in discovery mode. They're coming in to discover new things, to meet new people on kind of like for the first time. We'll talk about what that means to you as an artist and the way that you create your content. If most of the people that are going to be seeing you are new people and people who are there to discover new content, we need to tailor that. We need to tailor the content for them. One thing that is really interesting about TikTok is that your content is measured by its merit, and it's shown to only the most relevant people. So that means that everyone gets a shot. So what are they looking for? And by saying they, I mean, what is the evil algorithm looking for? The number one thing that they're looking for are high watch rates. By high watch rates, I do mean that a 9-second watch on a 10-second video is more valuable than a 12-second watch on a 15-second video. I hope that makes sense. A 9-second watch, just to like do the math, is 90% watch, versus a 12-second watch on a 15-second video. That's an 80% watch. So that's the number one thing that TikTok looks for. They're also looking for deep engagements like comments and UGCs. UGC is user-generated content. So TikTok really looks to create a community and keep people on the app for as long as possible. That's why they're looking for those deeper engagements like comments and UGCs. And they don't value likes as much, or favorites as much. So just kind of like putting that in perspective. Not to say that likes don't matter, followers don't matter. They matter, but they don't matter nearly as much as they would on a platform like Instagram or Facebook. One thing that I really want to talk about is an audience content fit. For those of you who went to business school or are familiar with the concept of product market fit, an audience content fit is a very similar concept. Basically, TikTok wants to know that they have an audience for your content, that if they keep feeding that audience similar pieces of content, the audience is going to respond in a way that's that is similar. We're going to talk about how we can utilize that specifically in a second, but this is a key part of creating a TikTok strategy for artists specifically in terms of your content strategy. And then TikTok is looking for a consistent niche and cadence. not only they want you to create similar content that fits that audience, they also want you to create that content and distribute it on TikTok in a consistent manner. The biggest rival, as TikTok sees it, at least in my opinion, for them is not Instagram. It's more YouTube. They're trying to get creators to create enough content to feed the ever-growing demand on the platform. So that's where they're trying to get people who are consistently posting. This is reflected in something that is called account authority. TikTok actually confirmed that this is a real thing on the platform. Can you guys still see my my screen? I'm just gonna open the chat here. Yep. Okay. Cool. Awesome. Gnarly. Cool. Hey. So after the what comes the how. How do we get all of these different things? How do we get high watch rates? How do we get deep engagement? How do we get an audience content fit? And how do we get how do we hit a niche consistently? And this starts with one very important thing. Most of this webinar, by the way, is gonna get you to answer a bunch of questions regarding your niche and your content. We're not going to give you all the answers because no one can give you all the answers about something that is that personal straight off the bat. So if you're expecting a template on how to be a successful TikToker, answer all these questions, and that will help you reveal what makes sense for you. And the how is really about creating a sustainable content production operation. I know there's a lot of big mouthy words, but how do we create enough videos how do we create enough videos to be successful on the platform, to keep feeding that beast in a replicable way? And the first thing is figuring out our niche. So let's say my name is Itai. I'm a death metal artist. I'm actually, yeah, you know what? I'm a death metal artist. I look at overall music content, whatever everyone else posts, but I also want to look at all the other death metal bands that are posting. But what's unique about me as a death metal artist is that I am super into anime. So how do I fit that piece of content, that tidbit about my life and about my brand into my TikTok content? Maybe I make anime related songs. Maybe I make a song that is from the point of view of an anime character. Maybe I make another song from the point of view of one of the anime villains. Maybe I look at a Dragon Ball Z power up and I kind of like build up for that power up and kind of try to align that together. One thing that I think is really, really cool, if not to go into anime too much, but if you watched any of the Dragon Ball Z animated movies, you'd actually see a lot of Disturbed in there. And I don't think that is by chance. They sync licensed those songs because they have really, really strong buildup. So I can probably take that same parallel and bring it into TikTok and short form content. So the first thing is we got to figure out your niche. And then the next thing is we want to figure out replicable pieces of content. And I'm going to show you guys two examples here by two of our clients. The first one is going to be Jillian Rossi, who's a super talented artist. Is Noah here? I don't think that Noah's here, Jillian's manager, but I've learned a ton from her and from her replicable content.
The song comes out in 4 days, guys. 4 days. You were a grown-ass man, but you hurt me.
So look at this content. She filmed this in her car, obviously. And Jillian just overall does this similar type of content very often. And I want you to look at the next one that's coming out. And I want you to look at how similar it is to this first one.
Send this to the guy who's Snapchatting you instead of texting you. You were a grown-ass man, but you hurt me like a boy would. Way too immature, treated my heart like a toy. Oh, you were 6.
So very, very similar. She's literally probably filmed these back to back. I'm gonna jump into another one. Still same color palette, same frame, same everything. And we're gonna jump into the next one that is also similar.
Have you ever dated someone that was older than you but was less mature than you? Realize on the same age that you were.
So this is literally the same piece of content, or a similar piece of content to all the other ones, but this features a little bit of a different piece of the song. We're going to talk about why these are successful in a second, and why having a very consistent frame and framework of videos works so well. But I want to bring something up that I see a lot of artists struggling with, and that's, forget about being super creative about your content. Forget about that. I want you to put in most of your effort and most of your creativity into actually creating amazing music. Your content doesn't have to super reflect that. If your music is actually unique, all you have to do is showcase the music in a way that's somewhat engaging, and it will take a life of its own. And that's something that's super important to know. By the way, we're going to have a stop here in a few minutes to answer a couple of questions. So if you want to drop any cues in the Q&A section, feel free to do so. And I want to jump into Moonwalker, who's the other example. And I want to show you how consistent he is, or at least he was in the biggest period of growth that he had. Originally, he's since moved on to a slightly different strategy, but similar content methodology.
This song is about people who use religion to feel morally superior to other people. I'm afraid I'll go to hell.
So what we're seeing here is a hook or a prompt, then he brings forth, and then he just plays the song. That hook is obviously relevant to that.
Anytime somebody interacts with this video, someone new will discover my music.
And this is the same exact concept. Again.
I'm going to play you 2 songs, and I want you to tell me which one you prefer.
And again.
This song cost me literally $0 to make. Can you tell?
And again. And guess what's going to happen next? Pretty much the same video over and over again. And that's really important to kind of think about is, hey, if I can make my content super replicable and super digestible for me to create, that leaves me more time to either create more of it, but more importantly, B, create more music, which is really what this is all about. We're not trying to make influencers on TikTok, and I think that's a fallacy that a lot of people fall into, is they try to treat TikTok as a way to become an influencer, and maybe through that leverage that audience into a music audience. I think that if you build that audience with the intent of becoming music fans early on, they'll become a much more devoted fans. Plus, being a creator or an influencer is a completely different skill set. It's a completely different job, and you don't have to be a super you don't have to be a super proficient or prolific content producer. If you are, if you're an amazing musician, all you have to do is kind of figure out these, what works for you and what works in your context. So what do you need on every TikTok? Every TikTok that you're ever going to create is going to need these things. Obviously, a captivating hook. To create context with your video, because your videos get shown to new people over and over again, almost every piece of content that you create should have a very strong hook that keeps people captivated. A lot of people look at the 80-20 rule. Very early on, I would actually use the 90-10 rule, meaning 90% of your content should be geared towards new people. Create content that gives a lot of context into who you are, and your hook should reflect that very early on. Engagement drivers, for example, comment your favorite artist in the comments. Tag your favorite, tag a friend who was dumped recently. Those are engagement drivers that I feel like are very, very powerful. Whenever you get comments on a video, you essentially get a lot more. Actually, let me show you something. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna show you a couple of videos that have some really strong engagement drivers. This is a band that I work with that's pretty amazing, but the interesting thing about them is they post a lot of replicable content, and as you can see, they don't have a super consistent view rate. With that being said, they are going from a place of 0 followers into a place of, I don't know, 2,200 followers with 0 spend very, very quickly. So for example,
this is obviously death metal.
This creates a dissonance. They're not a death metal band.
This is obviously death metal.
And you can look at a few of the comments saying like, well, this is a jazz song. This is black metal. This is alternative jazz. So this is an engagement driver within its own. And I feel like that's definitely something that's worth looking into. Another thing that you should be looking at is keywords. Definitely reinforce some of the keywords by using on-screen text. TikTok recently actually kind of like exposed the fact that they are extracting keywords from your videos, both bespoke and on-screen text, as well as your captions. I would recommend including at least a few keywords in your captions. Definitely as many keywords as possible on your on-screen text. And then if you have a bespoke pitch in your context, for example, let's say you have a song about God or a song about heartbreak, I would definitely include those keywords like breakup, heartbreak, heartache, breakup songs in your on-screen text if possible. And something that's really important is a payoff or a call to action. What is a payoff? What's a call to action? A payoff essentially is you opened a story loop in your captivating hook. Basically, you raised a question or you piqued someone's interest, and that payoff is basically you kind of like delivering on that promise. This helps create a kind of like an interesting connection between you and the fan, and it helps create an obligation from the fan to your brand, because hey, guess what? You promised me something, you delivered on it. Now I trust you a little bit more. All right. So a few things I ask myself after creating every TikTok. can new people understand this? Can someone, if I showed this TikTok to a random person on the street that overall likes music or is a music fan, can they understand this? Am I being authentic? I guess the difference between TikTok and Instagram is all about that model that sits on a super expensive beach drinking a $50 cocktail in a $1,000 a night resort, and then flying on private jets and having that amazing lifestyle. Well, TikTok is that person that sits at home wearing their sweatpants and just being themselves and bearing their heart to you. So it's kind of like two sides of the same coin, or two different outlooks on life, but where Instagram kind of rewards ultra curated content, TikTok rewards authenticity. So ask yourself, am I being authentic? Because also it'll be very difficult for you to be consistent if you're not authentic. When you have to lie about who you are all the time, you'll have a difficult time kind of being consistent. If you, for example, post a lot of content that is super left-wing leaning, and then all of a sudden you go on a right-wing rant on TikTok, it'll create a dissonance, a cognitive dissonance with people who try to follow you. And that will hurt your consistency in the long run, because maybe people have a bad experience. They won't want to come back to your page. This is something really important that you have to ask yourself: do I provide enough value with this? So did I make a promise and deliver on it? Are people going to get something from this video? Are people outside of me? Because this is not about you as an artist. This is about luring in new fans by providing them value. Luring in, I guess that's kind of a bad word or a bad choice of word, but this is about attracting new fans. And we do that by providing them value. And then most importantly, can I keep this up? And by asking, can I keep this up, is saying, hey, do I have enough content and enough power or enough energy to keep investing the same amount of energy into this, to keep creating this type of content consistently? And you might not have that in you, which means you'll have to adjust your plan according to that. And that really kind of like leans into figuring out your cadence, and what is a good cadence for you to post. How can you produce enough videos to keep up? And what are some of the production methods that work within my niche, but more importantly, within my schedule? Artists are super busy. Some of them have jobs outside of music. Some of them have co-writes. Touring is becoming a thing that's coming back. So what are some of the production methods that can fit around what I'm doing? Maybe I have a backlog of a ton of content, and I can just find someone who will help me frame that content in a way that's relevant to TikTok. Or maybe I can record a bunch of snippets, short snippets like Moonwalker does, to kind of like basically produce content around existing content that I already have. And that's a pretty good framework and a few pretty good questions to ask yourself when you figure out your content, and kind of like a few of your production methods within your kind of like time space and span of life overall. So we want to get into the content. Now that we have the content, I want to get into a few of the things that you need to do regularly. Obviously, you got to post regularly. That ties back to the consistency module. I'd much rather you post 3 times a week for 5 weeks straight than post 15 times in 2 days and then disappear for 5 weeks. That, in my experience, is a lot more powerful overall. I want you to engage with as many people as possible, especially early on. Engaging with people and having people come back to your content is super key. Those are going to be your OGs, your day ones. So engage with them as often as possible. The more you comment back to people, the more you'll see actually people coming back, but the more you'll see actually like a kind of like a snowball effect. Go live regularly. That actually helps increase your reach overall. When going live, a few things happen. One thing that's really cool is when you have a piece of content surfacing and you are live at that moment, you'll see that red circle around your name. And for some reason, this has like nothing to do with what, sorry, this has nothing to do with what with the design of the platform, everything to do with just like human intelligence or like human behavior. But when you see a red flashing thing, you want to click on it. And that's what happens with people. Same goes with stories, by the way. I actually noticed that people that post stories regularly, generally speaking, get a higher percentage of click-through rates into their profile. And then the last thing is communicating your art. Don't forget, we're here on TikTok not to become TikTok stars. We're here on TikTok to communicate our art and kind of like frame it and put it in context. I just had a conversation this morning with someone about the fact that art can never exist in a vacuum. Art is always contextual. And that the same goes to music. Your music brand can never stand by itself. It's never all about the music. The Beatles' songs had so much impact because they came in a specific period of time in history that they made sense. You need to communicate your art in the context of your universe, in the context of your brand, and obviously in the context of like everything that is happening in the world right now. Like I wouldn't write and release a song about traveling the world in the middle of the pandemic, just because everybody's stuck at home and I think it'll bum them out. Here are a few posting tips, and we'll take a short break for questions right after this. Here are a few posting tips that I find are super important. By the way, at the end of this presentation, I'll show you 10 really important, my kind of like top 10 tips for using TikTok. And I think you should stick around for that because that's a pretty, there's a bunch of value there. So the number one tip when I look at a post is text. Like on 95% of the times, videos with text perform better than videos with no text. I'm going to say it again. Videos with text do better. Take that extra 2 minutes, put text on your posts. If you're looking for interesting caption apps, there is an app called Captions for iPhone. It's pretty solid. Another one is CapCut, which I love. But overall, you can also do it on TikTok's actual interface. Between CapCut and TikTok's actual interface, there's no difference. Because they're owned by the same company, so they're able to literally pull all your metadata from CapCut. But I would definitely use text on every post that I put together, especially early on. Use 3 to 5 hashtags. Avoid all non-related hashtags. Forget about hashtag Doritos, hashtag FYP, hashtag for you, hashtag for your page. All those nonsense hashtags, delete them. Don't need them. They're not going to do anything for you. Tag your music and your sounds. This is something that I absolutely 100% wholeheartedly adore, is artists that include their music and tag it in their sounds. What this does two things. If your sound is mapped into your account already, that means that whenever somebody clicks on it, they'll go back into your account from there and they'll be able to see all the other sounds that you created. But more importantly, if your sound takes off for whatever reason, maybe you ran a Songfluencer campaign, maybe you ran an influencer campaign, maybe you ran a competition with Pear Pop or Preffy. Shout out to Preffy. You can literally, people will be able to find you and your profile on their sounds. So that's I think a super useful thing. And you'll also have kind of like a gauge on the performance of your videos in one place, and you can go and use, like for example, our analytics tool to see how many people saw your videos in kind of like one quick copy paste move. And then post in high traffic times. If you don't have a following, this is not super crucial for people who don't have a following. Anything under 5K, I would say post anytime. We found that it is probably a little bit better, probably just a little bit better to post like, I guess like around 4 or 5 p.m. of your local time, generally speaking, but it's not so significant that you'll see like a massive difference. And then one last thing is keep your video engaging. And I actually want to show you a video to explain what that means. Now this video was edited by a fully professional editor, but the ideas that he puts together are solid and are just 100%, I think, replicable for artists. Not replicable for artists, but are super crucial to keeping people's attention, keep people engaging.
Every couple seconds, something needs to happen to keep the viewer's attention. That can be a pop-up, that can be a sound, that can be a camera change, that can be a pose change. That's how to hold attention in 2022. Every couple seconds, something needs to happen to keep the viewer's attention. That can be a pop-up, that can be a sound.
All right, it stopped. But you guys kind of like, I hope you guys can kind of like get the point from that. I honestly think that that keeping those pop-ups going, those intercuts is super important. We've been testing this with a few of our artists, and it's been really interesting. It's been really interesting to see the effect that has over people and overall over retention rate. And we're going to hop on to the next slide. You got cues. I got AIDS. LOL. And I'm just going to jump into a couple of questions. Somebody asked, how important are hashtags, or do you even bother using hashtags? I'm gonna be honest, hashtags are not super important. I definitely wouldn't use FYP. They kind of help the algorithm figure out where your content is going to go. But I wouldn't use them as kind of like a hack on Instagram where people had like these elaborate hashtag strategies. Those don't really work. So what I would suggest is using 3 to 5 hashtags. Generally speaking, I would use 2 kind of broad hashtags. So if, for example, I am a singer-songwriter and I kind of sound like James Taylor, I'll write like singer-songwriters of TikTok. That is a pretty big hashtag one. I would probably do like acoustic songs. That's another big hashtag. And then I would try to go deep and say James Taylor fans or James Taylor music, and yeah, so and so forth and so forth. So that's a great question. Okay. And then I see here from Danny Martinez, does all content need a purpose? I have videos of me playing guitar, but it's hard to find a reason to post them. So if you're playing guitar, maybe you just want to show off a piece of like you show off like you shredding, and you can ask a question about that. For example, like rate this riff from 1 to 5. What color does this riff sound like? what tone is there? What tone is there? I don't know. Do I have a specific, does this remind you of any specific guitarist? Try to guess my amp. Those are things that you can, deploy for just a video that you're like, cool, I just have this video out there. So definitely like you can try to reframe the content in the form of a question. I find that that's like really helpful to getting your engagement up. Shannon asked, should I only promote one song at a time and gear all content towards that song? It really kind of depends. And I hate to give that answer. It depends. But I honestly think that the focus of other people is limited, and your focus is also limited. So I would actually focus mostly on 1 or 2 releases at a time, because it'll help you also track what is happening with that song in respect to my promo. So like, let's say I'm going to promote like 2 songs for 2 weeks, song A and song B, and I'm gonna drop 20 videos in those 2 weeks. And then I'm gonna switch to song C and D the 2 weeks after that. And I wanna see what happened. I wanna go into Spotify for Artists and see what happened in comparison to that. So I hope that answers your question. Those are some really awesome questions. If you have any other questions, feel free to hit up in the comments. I'll definitely like get into more questions a little bit further in the presentation. We'll have another chance at the end. But I want to talk about combining your organic strategy with ads, because that to me is kind of like the fastest way to grow on TikTok today. And we've noticed that it's also one of the fastest ways to grow outside of TikTok as well. Because with ads, unlike with other pieces of content, it's really easy to push people off the platform, which organic content doesn't allow that much now. So you can use your content to bring fans into your ecosystem. Then you can use ads to monetize your fan base or kind of deepen the connection. So essentially, people see your content once or twice. That's great. Now they're in your ecosystem. They're more likely to see your ads, and vice versa, by the way. People who've seen your ads are more likely to see your organic content if they had a good positive engagement with your ad. So both of those things kind of like feed off of each other. And then you can use organic content to build a community, which is really, really important. I definitely encourage people to not just keep the relationship on TikTok, but move it further. I'm going to take just 1 second to have a drink of water because I am dying. Cool. So yeah, essentially, if you're having like specific questions about combining ads with organic strategy, definitely feel free to drop them in the Q&A. And I want to talk about how to create a sticky ad. And this comes down to something very, very, something that I was like blown away by. I'm fairly new in America, and recently not recently, but in 2020, I took a road trip and we stayed at a motel. And that motel had TV, obviously, with something that I'm not used to because I don't have a TV at home. We have like just Netflix and stuff. And they had infomercials on there. And I was just blown away by the structure of every infomercial. And then when I opened TikTok, literally the same day, I noticed that some like the more successful TikToks have the same structure as an infomercial. And that structure is called a hook story offer. Essentially a hook, an engaging 3 to 5 seconds that contextualize the whole story and open some sort of a story loop, meaning making a promise or making some sort of an outrageous claim. them telling a story. So for example, an example for a good hook is, do you ever feel like your best friend did you ever feel like your best friend was a liar? This is my story, and my best friend lied to me, and but they were denying it, and they were gaslighting me, and I was feeling really, really lonely, and I felt isolated from all of my friends. So I wrote a song about it. Here is the song. This is kind of like just me doing it, giving you kind of like a framework of a hook and story. And then the offer there would be some sort of value that I provide to people. It doesn't have to necessarily be a call to action, but it can be, if you were ever betrayed by a friend, tag them in the comments, like start some shit. Or if you have a friend that feels the same way, tag them in the comments, or tell me about your worst experience, and I might write a song about it, and then you do comment replies to that stuff. Definitely, that is a pretty sticky ad, and almost every ad that we work with, that, by the way, between 20 and 30 seconds, that's kind of like the length. I feel like that is the optimal length for ads. Any sticky ad that we work with has at least 2 of these 3 portions of the song, of the ad. So definitely a hook in every case, and sometimes a story and an offer, but sometimes it's like a hook and an offer just squashed together. So how do our ads work? So PushTok, I don't know if you're familiar, but we have an ad system that we built. Our ad system is a little bit simpler than the promote button, and is a little bit simpler than TikTok running ads on TikTok Ads Manager. We essentially simplify the process, and we use TikTok Ads Manager to just tap into different audiences that we built over the course of us working with over 1,000 artists. We're essentially an ad tool for artists. We optimize TikTok ads specifically through running a lot of TikTok ads. What's happening here? We are run by a bunch of TikTok nerds. So hi, I'm Itai, and I'm a TikTok nerd. I've been literally obsessed with TikTok since 2018, and my first marketing campaign on TikTok started in 2019. So I've been doing this for, wow, literally a long time. And we worked with over 1,000 artists. And I want to show you exactly how our ads work real quick. Essentially, you choose a video, you decide a targeting, and you can reach fans. And let me just show you how quick that is. Literally, you go into our platform. You have instructions here about how to get an ad authorization code from TikTok. You input it in here, you literally drop it. So the first time you do ad authorization, you have to enable ad authorization for your whole account. Then you grab your ad authorization code from your actual video. You drop that in. This basically gives us permission to advertise on your behalf using that video on TikTok. Which countries do you want us to target? So like, let's say, for example, I choose Australia, United States, United Kingdom, and maybe Canada. I can choose whatever age groups I want. Let's say I don't want these people. Generally speaking, by the way, I recommend leaving all of this 100% open. And that's because TikTok is not that great at figuring out who's at what age. It's because it's unlike Facebook or Instagram, they gather a lot less information than other social media platforms do. So the age groups is not super accurate. Where should we link them to? If you want to include a Instagram, a Spotify, Feature FM, Linkfire, Koji links, definitely put them in there. By the way, we recommend Foundy, we recommend Feature FM, Linkfire, ToneDen, and Koji. I do not recommend HypeEdit at all. And I do not recommend Linktree at all. I just noticed that they misbehave on the platform very often. And then my two kind of like favorite choices are the 150 and 260 for artists who are just starting out. You just choose those, one of those, and I think that's a really good move. You can also choose the 200 or the 300, but I recommend to use those actually as follow-up campaigns and not as initial campaigns. All right. And now we're almost at the moment of truth where I tell you my top 10 tips for TikTok. And then we are going to jump into a more in-depth Q&A in case you guys have anything you want to go over that. And I know it's been a goddamn hour, so I'm going to try to do this quickly. My top 10 tips for TikTok. Study the platform intentionally. That's actually the number one step to success on TikTok is take 30 minutes once a month and study the platform. I'll send everyone a link to a bunch of really badass TikToks. I want you to literally take 10 minutes, watch all of them. There are like 30 TikToks, watch every single one of them. Try to figure out why they were so successful. And then after that, I want you to go on your For You page, and I want you to scroll through the For You page and look at some of the videos with the higher likes and comments that are falling on your For You page, and try to reverse engineer what happened to make people comment and respond to those videos. Second thing is templatize your content. Figure out a good template that works for you, whether it's sitting in the car, whether it's doing like a music video edit, whether it's doing, maybe you're a good dancer, maybe you have a ton of content of you when you're a DJ and you have a ton of content of you playing like different parties. Maybe you're a guitar player and you have a ton of content of you just playing your guitar. Templatize your content and try to figure out a recurring motif that you can pull a thread through all of your content. Don't waste too much of your creativity on your content. Put your creativity where it belongs, and where it belongs is in music. So definitely jump into as much creativity as possible on your, like, dump as much creativity as possible onto your content, and not too much, as much creativity as possible into your music and not too much into your content. Your content is a means to an end, and look at it that way. Get a routine going. I definitely, like, for me, it's generally speaking, it's posting at like 9:45 after I finished like purging my inbox a little bit. I post one video and then I repurpose another piece of content and I post it at around noon. That's just my routine and how that works. But if you have a different routine going, maybe with your morning coffee, maybe when just before you're going into dinner, get a routine going. Something that I think that not a lot of people do is tracking their creation time. Track how long it takes you to create one video from start to finish. And really, like, I would even recommend you writing it on a whiteboard or on a piece of paper, and try to reduce that creation time by 10% week over week. You will notice that you are becoming a more efficient content creator overall. And like everything, content creation is definitely content creation is definitely like a muscle. And I would definitely just practice that muscle and try to reduce that time so that you have more time to do other things in your life. Number 6 is film multiple hooks for every video. This is something that's super helpful. Most of your videos are going to be, if you're going to templatize your videos, most of your videos are going to be fairly similar. So if you film, let's say, 3 or 4 hooks for the same video, you can essentially film just one video and 4 or 5 different hooks. That means that you really just filmed 5 different videos, and you can just swap up the hooks. Don't worry about tricks or hacks. Like, don't worry about like like an SEO strategy, or optimizing your hashtags, or optimizing this and that. Just focus on the most important part of your TikTok, which is having an amazing content strategy that hits over and over and over again. Hashtags and SEO are not that important. I just mentioned it. Their SEO is kind of becoming more important long-term. But if I'm being honest, still about 95 to 97% of the watch time on TikTok comes from the For You page, and it doesn't come from hashtag views. It definitely sure as shit doesn't come from like people searching how to change a tire on TikTok. Going viral, if you're going viral, and I know this kind of like sounds like, well, I'll get to that bridge when I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. Go live. As soon as you go viral, as you're going viral, go live. This will give people another window to interact with you and engage with you. Post stories. We notice that like there's a lot more, there are a lot more conversions happening when people post stories, being thankful and kind of like updating people about what is happening with their video. Even if you're going just a little bit viral and you're getting 100,000 views on your video, that's worth celebrating. Pat yourself on the back and definitely show gratitude to your fans. And then the 10th most important thing is driving traffic off the platform in a fun way. Try to gamify that experience. Maybe like put a secret code on your artist pick on Spotify, and have people like literally respond that code on TikTok on one of your videos, and then maybe like doing a giveaway with those people. Try to drive, essentially like create some sort of like engagement with people in a super fun way. Maybe include people in like a playlist, or say, hey, let me know which songs would fit well within this playlist. I'll drop this playlist. I'll drop this playlist in my link in bio. And I would love to see you there. If you commented a name of a song, I'll include it in the playlist. You got cues. I got answers, and I also have a promo code that Corey and I will be sharing with you after this, to give you kind of like a trial run of PushTok if you want to try it out. So I'm going to try to answer most of these. Is it more effective to promote a song before it's out or when it's out? Generally speaking, I'm more in the camp of after it's out. I do find value in pre-saves. I don't find any algorithmic value in pre-saves. They're useless algorithmically. What I do find valuable about pre-saves is the fact that you can get someone's email and then you can have a deep conversation with them over email. But yeah, I definitely don't. I think that if you're going to be promoting a song and you have like a limited resources, I would say use the pre-release period of time to batch a shit ton of content. And then once the song drops, just go ham on dropping content. So I hope that answers the question. How often should you do trending sound versus your own niche content? I would say at least 90% your own personal stuff. Tagging a viral sound versus participating in a trend is something that are two different things. I would say definitely focus on like long-term growth. This is a long-term play, by the way. So like TikTok overall is a long-term play. I would say that building a wide and strong foundation will enable you to reach a lot higher down the road than just like trying to build a very shallow and skinny and tall kind of like way to engage with your fans. Hope that was helpful. Shay asked, do you have a specific posting cadence you recommend for new artists on the platform? Shay, that's a really great question. And I'm going to answer it with the answer that I hate the most. I would say it depends. It depends on how much you can keep up with. I would say 3 times a day for 3 weeks is way better than 1 time a day for 3 weeks, obviously. But I also recognize the fact that you're busy and you have a lot of stuff that you're doing. So what I would do is I would try to figure out what is the cadence I'm comfortable creating with, and kind of go off of that. I would say that once a day is kind of like a bare minimum at this point. And if you can go up to 3 or 4 times a day, you'll see a much faster growth because you're just dropping 3 to 4 times more content. So statistically, you have a lot higher chance to going to reaching out to people. How do you attach ads to your organic content? There are essentially 3 ways you can do that. Number one is you can use the promote button, Shez. And I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. If I'm not, then I'm a terrible person and I'm sorry. But yeah, there are 3 ways. The promote button is the least cost-effective one. TikTok ads, using TikTok Ads Manager, you can do that as well. Or you can just sign up to TikTok ads by business.tiktok.com. You are going to have a registered business in the US in order to get approved. There is an approval process. It's not super long. It's definitely shorter than what it was a year ago. Or the third way is just by hopping into our platform and doing that. So I hope that was helpful. We have another question here. I noticed TikTok doesn't like it when you direct people to link in your bio for pre-saves. Do you have a workaround or a suggestion to get engagement to transfer to pre-saves? I agree. They started actually throttling pre-saves or people that say link in bio. What I would try to do is I would try to actually figure out like maybe like a pen and paper. Hold on, like a pen and paper, and write like link in bio right here, or write like what to do if you want to pre-save. That's what I would do. Kind of like to get around that because I feel like TikTok's image recognition is going to have a difficult time recognizing that is what is happening in your piece of content. Overall, I think that your strategy directing people away from the platform is going to have to become a lot more gamified over the year, or like in the next few years. So think about different creative ways to get people off the platform. Maybe do a giveaway. If you pre-save, I'm going to give you, I don't know, a lollipop, or I'm going to do a listening party. There's actually a really cool platform called Small Talk, talk like speak. So definitely try that out. You can do like listening parties there. The founder of Venmo actually started it. So it's good. And yeah, that's pretty much what I would recommend, is trying to find like different gamified ways. Personal or business account. Absolutely 100,000 billion% do not use a business account. First of all, the reach of business accounts is kind of meh. Personal accounts are where you want to go. So personal or creator, if you still have that option. Some people don't even have that option of like being a creator account. So just do personal account. Anything under 1,000 followers, honestly, it's not a big deal. If you miss out on those people clicking on your link in bio, not a huge deal. What I would do is I would just like blitz content until I get to 1,000 followers. If you release 2 good pieces of content every day, you would reach 1,000 followers within less than a month. And if you don't, hit me up. Literally, you have my email. Hit me up. I will make sure that we reach 1,000 fans, 1,000 followers on the platform by giving you like an audit of your account and make sure that we're doing something right. Shannon asking, should I work on building my audience before running PushTok ads? You could do either or. Honestly, it doesn't really matter on that front, because when you're running an ad, we can attach a link to it regardless. What I would definitely make sure is make sure that you have a lot of great content to choose from, and make sure that you're dropping really like amazing, consistent content over and over again before jumping into running ads. The reason why I'm saying that is because we have the greatest A/B tool testing mechanism on the planet that's called the For You page. A piece of content that resonates with people organically, it doesn't have to be super viral, but if it has more than 5,000-6,000 views, we know that at least 5,000 or 6,000 people engaged with it in a way that's meaningful. According to the For You page, not according to me, not according to what I feel, but according to an algorithm that knows a ton about what is good content, what isn't. And then we just use that for this. What's small talk called? I think you can look it up at like @smalltalk. @smalltalk, something like that. Definitely look it up. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys so much. If you have any other questions, definitely feel free to email me. Don't DM me on Facebook because I'm really slow on answering on Facebook. You can DM us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok. It's just push.talk. And then definitely, yeah, if you have any other questions, feel free to email. Thank you guys so much. And I hope to see you all on the For You page. We're going to have more of these coming up in the next few weeks. So stay tuned for a few million other webinars. Thank you guys so much.